Hey, family. Hey, family. I pray all is well with many of you. Happy Monday. Today is a good day. Life is good. When we believe this, we have to speak those things in existence. When we believe this, so shall it be unto you. I had purchased this book. You can get something like this at Walmart. Family Dollars, um, Dollar Tree, whatever the case may be. Um, it has here, you are beautiful, powerful, brilliant, and brave. And we all know that there's power in the spoken word, okay? Positive affirmations is something that we all should do daily, okay? Daily. And I like to get on here speaking about my truth, my testimony, and what other things that I have been doing lately. I know it's been working for me. And for those who have ears to hear, for the intended ear, may this message bless you, okay, family? Um, I started a while back last year when I wake up in the morning, okay? The first thing I set my attention is thank you, Lord, for another day of grace. Thank you for my daily bread. Today is a good day. Life is good. Now, I know many of you are going through some things. We all are. But when we speak like this, being a state of gratitude, starting our day off, being grateful, it shifts the atmosphere, family. Okay? It shifts the atmosphere, and you'd be surprised how, you know, those chaotic situations going on in your personal life, especially your personal challenges, whatever it may be, personal or, pertaining to your, business, career, as far as what's going on behind the scenes, you'd be surprised how, things will start to shift when you least expect it. Okay, all of a sudden things start to shift, and it's always in your favor. Okay, how do they say every new level a new devil? That is so true. You know, the powers that be, knows our weakness, and we have to be smart enough, wise enough to use discernment as far as covering our back. Okay, the powers that be is always throwing a monkey wrench at us, and on our path, whatever path that you're on, you know, digging a ditch or a hole for us to fall in. Now we may not can't see it coming, but God the Most High sees and knows all. And God is within his children, within all of us. Let me just say that. But many of his children are not operating in discernment. Many of his children are not listening to that still voice. Many of his children are not going within to meditate, to still the mind so they can get answers. Many of his children are not asking for help, nor are they seeking answers. getting back to what I was saying in the beginning, it is so good for us to start our day off in a state of gratitude. That should be the first thing that's on your mind when you wake up. Thank you, Lord, for whatever it is that's on your mind that you feel grateful for. The Most High knows. But just thank you, Lord, for another day of grace. Because, see, I've always said, and many people, they hear and they hear not, but many of you, you know, especially during the time of the crisis, you know, the CBD crisis, I let many of you know everything's not going to affect everyone. Yes, many people were affected greatly, and everybody did what they had to do. And due to everyone's different way of dealing with it, okay, many of us have overcome, okay, that 2 years ago. We're still here. But many people are greatly affected by it. Many people are not here anymore, and many people are dealing with the aftermath, okay, of it. That's all I'm going to say, okay? I have to watch what I say. But anytime there is a so-called pandemic or crisis that's going on in the world, family is not going to affect everybody, sadly to say. And uh, what comes to mind, when I think about people who live in those areas to where they're dealing with storms all the time. I think about Kansas and Oklahoma, all these little, certain areas, they're constantly dealing with tornadoes. And a tornado is always going down a certain path. Okay? That's interesting. I'm talking and my throat seems to be bothered for some reason. It's like something wants me to shut up, okay? But I think not. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Yes, indeed. So anyway, um, I think about when people live in the areas to where they're dealing with, storms such as tornadoes, right? And a tornado is always going down a certain path. Then, of course, for some reason, it'll shift, you know, it'll start to shift and then start moving down another path. Okay. 1 minute is heading towards north and then it's shifting towards the east, you know, or it's going back, shifting towards the south. I mean, tornadoes are very unpredictable. You never really know how they're going, how they're moving. But when it's going on that certain path, it can be 10 houses in a row, and that tornado will not destroy all of them. You would think it would. I mean, it's going down the same path, okay? All of these homes are in a row, but it skips over certain homes. And this is a storm. This tornado is skipping certain homes. Out of the 10, it'll leave what? 7 flat and 3 still standing. So with that being said, family, um, in the midst of your storms and whatever chaos is going on in your life, try to speak those things into existence that you want to see. Don't speak about your problems. Speak about the solution. And it's so hard when you're going through it. But that's the thing. You're going to have to mentally take yourself out of it. Mentally, physically, yeah, you're going through it, but mentally take yourself out of the equation and see yourself, okay? See yourself out of that situation the way you want to see yourself and be in a state of gratitude. Now, one other things that I would suggest that can help many of you, because I know it helps me, is to get you a little book. It doesn't have to be like this, but just get you a little journal book, okay? and date it, date it. Like for instance, today is what, January the 16th, dated 1-16, 2023. I am grateful. And while you are writing down, I am grateful, think about what you are grateful for. You don't have to speak it, but think about what you are grateful for. Think about it first. And then as you're thinking about it, while you're writing down, I am grateful, then say it. As within, so without. Okay? It starts inside first. Think about it. Right? I am grateful. Think about it. And then say what you're grateful for. Don't write down what you're grateful for. Say it. Say, I am grateful. Be thanking it. And then say, for instance, for my daily bread, for power, love, and sound mind. And then write 888 3 times. It represents infinity as well as abundance. Do this every day. See, a lot of people do a lot of lip services, but no action. They're not putting no action behind it. You know, there's power in the spoken word, but it's also power when you're writing something down as well. Okay, you'd be surprised, family, how this can really, transform your life. Now, I know how it's transforming minds, but that is for me to say. But how is it going to transform yours? Okay, by just writing down that simple step. Not only speaking it, but write it down, make it plain, like the words say. Write it down, make it plain. Do it every day. And see, you're not gonna have no choice. Even though, for instance, you might lose a job. That's right. The next day, the Most High God has woken you up, still in the midst of your situation. You wake up, before you even get this, you wake up and you say, you open your eyes, you look around. Thank you, Lord. I am so grateful for another day of grace. Thank you for waking me up to see another day of grace. Say it your way, but be in a state of gratitude. And I always add the word grace, because His grace is sufficient. Please know that. And I always think about, family, the tornado alley. Yeah, a storm is coming. Whatever the storm is, be still and keep the peace of God, love, and light that is within you. Keep that centered here in your heart. Okay? Because when you are centered in the love of source of God, hold on, family. Sorry about that. My little queen doing a little peep show. But when you are centered in His love and light, there's safety there. Okay? He removes the worrying from you. The anxiety starts to fade out because you're standing on His word. Psalms 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You're standing on His word, and no matter what you're going through, family, it's going to be all right. Even in the midst of what's going on with you, yes, today is a good day, life is good. You keep saying this, eventually you're going to believe it, and so shall it be unto you. Okay? So that's pretty much what this video is about. I just pretty much want to remind many of you to speak life over yourself in the midst of whatever it is that you are experiencing, okay? I know it's not easy, but you have to put the work in, okay? That's operating faith. Put the work in. Even you are depressed. What can help you come out of that being depressed is when you wake up and open your eyes and you see the Most High God has allowed you to see another day. Because each day is another opportunity. But it's what you do about the opportunity that's going to determine everything. What are you going to do about the opportunity? Are you going to sit there and speak death over yourself? Oh, things are not going right. Every time you talk, you're putting but in it. Oh, your life is good, but I'm going through this. Because what you're doing, you're speaking on your problems. Stop speaking on your problems. Speak about solutions. Speak about seeing your way out of the situation. When you wake up, you look around, you're seeing another day, your windows, your blinds, shall I say, is open, and you're seeing birds, flying around, and you can hear them chirping. That's a blessing in itself. Not only to be able to see, but to hear. So it's a lot to be thankful for. Stop focusing on your problems and be grateful for what you do have and be in a state of gratitude. Thank you, Lord, for another day of grace. And then get up, get your book, do all of this before you get out of the bed and start writing down the date and have each one under each other. Write down your date and write down, I am grateful. And while you're writing down, I am grateful, think about what it is that you're so grateful for that day. And then say it. I am grateful. A. And I always take my hand and I move it in a clockwise position. And many of you know how important that is because, when I go within myself, because my spiritual sight is awakened, I've been seeing some things. And this rotation right here represents balance, clockwise. When it's going this way, something is off, unbalanced. Rub it 3 times, close the book, and leave it there. It's just like when people pray, okay? They're praying, and whatever it is that they're praying and believing for, they leave it there. Same thing you do when you're writing what I just told you to write, and close the book and leave it there. And start over again the next day by the grace of God if you know to see it. Okay? I'm just trying to encourage many of you because this is what I do daily. Okay? Daily. And I'm always speaking life over myself daily. I'm going to tell you what I said to myself this morning when I looked in the mirror. Give you an example. I looked in the mirror this morning when I was in the restroom and I said, hello, beautiful. I love you so much. You are more than enough. I appreciate you. I am, and I'm always saying I am abundance. I am creative. I am so grateful. You get what I'm going with this, but I'm speaking it. I don't need anybody else's voice to say it for me. Because my voice means so much to me. Okay? And my voice carries weight. It's life and death in the power of the tongue. I don't need anybody else to, speak life over me. I can speak life over myself. Because there's power in the spoken word. Do this daily. And then you'll start, this will help you to renew your mind and it will help to change the way you start to feel and think about yourself. And you will stop looking for validation outside of yourself because you're validating you. Okay? You're validating you. And it's very powerful when you're saying this about yourself versus hearing it from somebody else. You're walking out and about, my sisters, and some men say, oh, wow, I just want to let you know you have some beautiful eyes. Thank you. And then you walk away thinking to yourself, I know this because I say it to myself every day, but thank you. I receive. At the end of the day, it's not what they say whose you are, it's who you say whose you are. And it's not about, oh, you bragging, you cocky. No, you're confident. You're starting to feel good about yourself. And I want many of my sisters to start, and my brothers will start feeling, good about yourself. Okay? You don't need nobody to enter your life for you to start feeling good about yourself. It starts with you. Start feeling good about yourself. Start seeing something good about you. Okay? Because I do it every day. Wow, Corinne, I love your hair. It's beautiful. It's natural. Yeah, it's kinky. It's different. There's nobody like you. Yeah, that's right. You are uniquely, wonderfully made. I say this about myself every day because I know that I am uniquely and wonderfully made. I don't want to be like everybody else. Okay? I'm learning to be happy in my own skin because when you're thinking like this, family, and feeling like this about yourself, okay, you start to glow, and people out there will see it, even their potential mate. You never know. They will see this about you, and they will see that the way you're carrying yourself, the way you're out here, okay, presenting yourself, you will find someone that will be attracted to you just the way you are, and they're not trying to change you, okay? Yeah, I'm through with that. And everything I said, that I just spoken of, I say with love, okay? I know what works for me. So I'm just trying to empower my brothers and sisters to stay courage and know that, you know, you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, this too shall pass. But while you are in the midst of what you're going through, you're going to have to speak life, okay? You're going to have to expand your light. And however you feel about yourself, okay? You're going to have to really do some mirror work, okay? So whatever you're saying, it's coming right back to you, okay? It's very effective. I love doing mirror work. Um, that's a lot that I want to say, but when I get to talking, I can't go from one topic to the next. Please know that. But I know that I can always come back also. But and I don't want to lose many of you, okay? The words that's going to come out of my mouth, if it's going over your head, if you don't really understand what I'm talking about, it's okay. Everything I speak about is not for everybody. So I'm giving many of you heads up right now. I love you, and the topic I'm going to speak about right now, it's okay if you want to exit out and leave. Okay, this is really for those who understand what I'm talking about. Even if you had not had experience, you've done your research about it, and you have an idea what I'm talking about. Okay, now in my humble beginnings, of coming to my spiritual awakening, right? I've spoken about, you know, um, in the beginning, how when I was asleep, I started seeing this light in the distance, and it was swirling like a spiral, but it wasn't upward swirling. It was like in a distance, moving like this. And it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It was a spiral because we're always in darkness when we close our eyes. But I started to see a light. Okay, I started to see a light in the midst of the spiral, and that was pretty much for me the intro as far as me starting to see within myself. Now, my mom had this experience before I did, and I talked about this before. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I'm trying to give you an idea. Now, my mom's spiritual sight is not awakened, okay? But still, while you're in that state, okay, of being asleep, a lot of time we're in the astral plane, but you can still see things because it's like you sleep, but then you're also still in that awakened state that you are conscious and you're able to see. Okay, with your spiritual sight, you still be able to see. It's just when you awaken, it's blocked. Okay, though when you are asleep, pretty much you're open. It's just a lot of things going on with many of you when you're asleep. You can't remember your travels, shall I say? A lot of us a lot of us be doing a whole lot of traveling, out of our bodies. But anyway, um, But she had this experience first. And then I don't know how long in between. It could have been maybe a month or two or three. It wasn't that long. I'm gonna say at least a good month. I had that experience. But mine's escalated. Okay. It went from one thing to the next. And now it's like this right here just fully awakened. Now that being said, I had an experience last night. And the first thing come to me was the valley of the shadow of death. Okay. And I've seen this, I've been in this space before, okay, because I've talked about it before. But the first thing comes to me is the valley of the shadow of death. And it's one thing to close your eyes. Even when we close our eyes, it's not that dark. You still see some kind of form of light or a sensory of lights around you, okay? But this was dark, okay? It was dark. And not only was this space that I was seeing, okay, was dark, I was seeing movement. So even in the midst of, you know, me being in the dark, okay, seeing to my spiritual sight, I was seeing movement. And this movement was dark. It kind of looked like uh, people that were blacking out. That's the only way I can describe it. It's kind of weird to talk about it. 'Cause it's like being in a dark space, but you're seeing, movements of dark beings, shall I say, that are just as dark. You're seeing them moving around in the darkness. So it's interesting. But I come to find out why I was able to see that also. See, family, we have to go into the dark to bring our light out. Many times we close our eyes, we don't see a thing. And that's normal. Okay, I don't want to say it's normal, but it's normal from the perspective of that's all you know. Okay, you close your eyes, that's all you know. You just don't see anything for the most part. But many of us have to go into the darkness to bring our light out. I always thought when people say, I'm going to closet, and pray and all of that, I always thought it was an actual physical closet because I used to do it. I grew up in church as a Baptist, so here I am going in my closet praying. But this is the ultimate closet, your container, going to yourself. Okay, meditate. They don't tell you this, but yeah, yeah, that's what it is. All right, it's like you had a Catholic people. They go to a man to pray and confess their sins, or they go in this little box. So yeah, and nothing against them. They do them. I'm giving an example. This is the ultimate closet, your temple. Like the source say, worship me in spirit and in truth. You must go within yourselves. But anyway, so I was seeing these shadow beings. It looked like they were fighting each other. I mean, that's how I was seeing was chaos. Okay, I was seeing a lot of chaos, and I would also see like a swirl of light moving around also. But before I saw the swirl of light moving around, I was just seeing nothing but chaos. It's like chaos fighting chaos. And every now and then I'm thinking to myself, why am I seeing this? But it's a reason for everything. The Most High God give us experiences to speak about it. I think about people who have near death experiences, and they are speaking about things they have seen. Okay, but for those of us who have been awakened spiritually, okay, and everybody's experiences are different now. They're sharing their truth and their testimony. But I kept wondering, why am I able to see this? It's enough that I'm in the darkness, but I'm seeing movement in the darkness. And stay with me now. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. And while I was seeing this, it came to me. It came to me. The reason I'm able to see this is because my light, okay? my light was allowing me to see what was going on in the midst of, or what was what, what's around me, shall I say, okay, in that space. Now, had my light not been expanded, I would not have been able to see what was going on around me. Now, for the most part, I would have been seeing the shadow beings, whatever they are, moving around me because it started off like that. But then I started seeing a swirl of light entering in. It's like it was just coming in slowly, the swirl of light entering in. And I noticed when the swirl of light would go past one of the shadow beings, I would see a face. So that lets me know these are people. It's like they're in their shadow self, okay? But when my light was expanded in this space, okay? So remember, you had to go into the darkness to expand your light. I was allowed to actually see what was around me. At first, it was these shadow looking figures that was moving around me, and they weren't bothering me. Let me just say this, they were not bothering me. I was there actually just, you know, observing. But even though I was observing, I was not like in the energy either. Okay? But I felt safe in everything. But I noticed when the light started to come in this realm, I'm going to say a realm, okay? I'm saying this place, but I'm gonna say this realm. As the light started to enter in, and it would like, go past one of them, I would see a face, and as the light would, bypass would go past the face, then I see the darkness. It's like the face would be blacking out. But when the light would go past the face, I would see the face. So that was very telling to me. So that lets me know I wasn't seeing no demons or anything. No, I was actually seeing a person in that realm. So that was very interesting to me because before, I have never experienced that before. I will always be, when I have, been in this space before, I will always just see shadow looking, and like I said, all for the most part, you know, a lot of it is not people. It can be an ET for all I know, a gray. It can be anything, but all you see is a blacking out figure that looks humanoid looking. But when that light enter in, that's the point I'm trying to make. When that light enter in, you can actually see what's around you. You can actually see, okay, so it's not some kind of creature, it's a person. But the person has fallen from grace, if you know what I mean, okay? This realm, I believe it's a lower realm, okay? I'm not gonna say it's hell and all of that, no. I think about the valley of the shadow of death, okay? And this space feels very hopeless, void, okay? So I know how true that is when the word speaks about it. Let me just say that. And so when I got tired of being in that space, I started to think of love, because the word speaks about, our thoughts should be of things that are honest, pure, and true. And that's the first thing I started to think about because I got tired of being in that space because I didn't like the energy. It's very heavy and dark. So I started thinking about love. And yeah, I started thinking about Jesus and Yeshua. And the more I thought about Jesus and Yeshua, oh my goodness, it's like somebody had a high beam light and the atmosphere just changed. It went from that to I was going through this portal, and it's when you go into like this portal, it's like a funnel. That's the only thing I think of. Those are the funnels, but you're going through the wide part, and then when you enter the wide part, it's like it's like you going through this portal, and you going through this foot of lights, okay? And it could be all kind of colors, but you're going through this, swirl of lights, and I think about the funnel when you enter in, the inside is real narrow. You get it? the narrow gate. It's real narrow. And before I knew it, I was somewhere, near water, But the point I'm trying to make is, um, it just the power of that name. Cause before I even, said Yeshua, you know, cause I grew up in church, so of course, I did see the word Yeshua and the word also. It's either Jesus and then you see also Yeshua. But before I even, before I even started saying Yeshua, I was saying Jesus at first because that's inside of me. Okay. And yes, that word is still in my heart. I said Jesus. And it's like a floodgate of light just enter that space. I kid you not, a floodgate of light into that space. And but before I said Jesus, let me just say this: before I said Jesus, you know, um, I started thinking about the rod and thy staff; they comfort me. I was saying this within myself telepathically. I said, "The rod and thy staff; they comfort me. My angels are camped around me, keeping me in all of my ways." Okay, because I know, scriptures by heart, not all of them, but I know certain ones by heart. Okay, and it's very powerful when you are quoting scriptures as well, because when you're quoting them, this is in your heart. Okay, a lot of people have to get the book to read that scripture, but when you see it enough and you memorize it, it's in your heart, and you can always pull it out. You can always pull it out, and it will be a lamp unto your feet, a light unto your path. You get it? It will be a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path, and it will also help you to navigate. Okay, if you find yourself, you know, um, in a certain realm, space that you feel uncomfortable, yes, the word is very effective and um, it changes the atmosphere as well. But getting back to that name, Jesus, oh my goodness, I said Jesus. Because I was ready to come out of that, okay? And I was trying to think of, certain places, because when we think about certain things, we're automatically there. But it was hard for me to come out of that space for some reason. And I was like, and when I was like quoting scriptures, and I was saying things like, much love to my, spiritual team, my spiritual guides, my family of the light. I started seeing swirl of light coming in there anyway, okay? And it was getting, and the atmosphere was starting to change and everything. But when I said Jesus, it like a flood light, like a flood light into the space. And then I said Jesus. I said, oh yeah, praise the Lord. Yeshua. Thank you. But I know a lot of people don't care for that name, family. A lot, now, you're hearing, oh, there was no J back then, and, oh, that name was not real, and then also, I know, because I know this too, growing up, I didn't see a lot of, melanin brothers and sisters, playing and acting parts back then when it comes to being in Kemet and Israel back then. They always had like the Caucasians, only playing these roles. So they let you know right there, deception. And as a child, I remember asking my mom, I said, where were we at? Now I said this as a child. I think I said this when I was about what, 10 or 12. I said, where were we at? And she said, and this is what my mom said. She said, I don't know. She said, but we were around. And that's very sad. That's very sad. But anyway, but even as a child, I asked the question, where were we at? I said, that's a very hot climate. You know, where were we at? And then kind of find out Egypt, Kemet is smack there. It is smack there in Africa. Wow. But anyway, it's a whole nother topic. But interesting though, isn't it? But anyway, I don't get off topic. I apologize. Um, but getting back to, my thoughts when it comes to that name, Jesus, um, that name is still in my heart, family. And, it's okay to agree as well as to disagree. But we have to learn to disagree with love. A lot of time people, just because they don't agree with you, they shun from you because they disagree with you. And when a person does that, they have to really check their heart, because I have learned in my spiritual path, to love people from where they are. Meaning, I can love you and disagree with you. And I don't have to be around you, but I love you from where you are. People can disagree with you, and they would just, write you out as though you were afterthought just because they don't agree with you. That's not love. Love is learning to love people and accept them from where they are. Okay? Not to write them off and curse them just because of disagreement. That's crazy. But I'm only speaking from my perspective, also based on, my experiences, um, since I had this gift of seeing within myself. That name is very effective. Okay. And, I'm not worrying about nobody getting mad at me and, don't want to watch my videos no more. They don't know what I know. They don't know what I know as far as having experience of being attacked, in the past. And I've talked about it before. And, that name came through for me many times. Okay. Because when we're having a spiritual awakening, you know, um, life as you know it, family will forever change. Okay. Um, all the programming, when it comes to religion and things that have been told to us. And it's one thing for things to be told to you, but you have to have an experience. When you have an experience, you start to see things for what it is, okay? Because it is your truth. You're going through yourself, and nobody's going inside of you but you, okay? So you know what you know. But many people are shunning from that name because, you know, to them, he's not, a Caucasian, okay? And I don't believe that to be the case as well. It doesn't mean I do not acknowledge him. I still acknowledge him. Let me just say that. But when I go within myself, I don't see black nor white. Now hear me out. We are all pretty much like avatars, okay? We're having this human experience. And when I go within myself, family, I see light and dark, meaning if you're someone that's very high vibrational, you're in your heart space, and you are of love, and you are in Christ consciousness. When I go within myself, I see you as a light being. I see you as a light being when I call upon that name Jesus. Cause I got to the point I said, I'm seeking thy face. I said, Jesus, I said, I seek your face. Okay. And a lot of times, if I'm not saying Jesus, I'm saying Yeshua, but I'm saying Jesus, I seek your face. I want to see you for myself. I saw this beautiful being. I saw this beautiful being that approached me. It started all when I'm starting to rise up in the higher realms, I light up bright. It's like I'm in a space of goldish white light. Okay. And the higher you go up in it, it feels like nirvana. That's the only way I can describe it to you. And when you're in this space, you really don't want to come back. You just bathe in this light of love. Okay. It's very intense. But when I said, Jesus, as I seek your face, Christ, Jesus, I seek your face. I say, I kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, I seek your face. That's all I said. Because he's there in the midst, okay? Uh, and I called on him because I wanted to know the truth for myself. And I knew he existed because I knew he has when I said his name many times before in the past, he came through, and stopped those demonic attacks that I was experiencing back in the day, okay? As far as having like spiritual attacks. So I know that there's power in that name for myself, okay? So I'm not worried about the naysayers, what they're saying. I know for myself, okay? And everybody have right to their opinions because the Most High God knows the heart of His children and He knows our intentions, okay? When your intentions are pure in His presence, He knows. So I said, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I said about 3 times. I said, I seek your, I said, I seek thy face. I said, I seek your face. All of a sudden, this floodgate of light had showed up in front of me. It looked bright as whitish gold. In the midst of this light, in the center, a face showed up. Notice what I said. In the midst of this light, a face showed up for me. It was a long looking face. He looked like to me he had that Middle Eastern look, okay? Had a long, broad, I can't describe the nose. It wasn't a wide nose. It was pretty much like a long, only I can say it's like a long nose, okay? The features, he had strong features. He had hair, like a goatee. He had this, and he had this, okay? And this. He had hair here, here, and here, like a goatee. And he had some beautiful, beautiful, deep eyes. They were not blue. They looked to me, they looked to me brownish, um, like a light brownish to me. Cause see, he was engulfed in light, and he had one of those shawls over his head. It was over his head and coming down his face like this, and that alone made his face look long, looked very long looking. Okay, and he looked at me with such love. He looked at me as though he was looking through me. To tell you the truth. And it can be very intimidating. Okay, I knew he was reading me. He looked at me like this, and then he said, and then he bagged out. He faded out, but he bagged back, and the life, kind of, he faded out, and all I saw was light. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is I didn't see black or white. That's the point I'm trying to make. You will see features. I know for me. Let me just say it like this. 'Cause I feel like everybody's experiences are different. I saw features. I see features when I go through myself, so I can tell. The African features, the Indian features. You know, Caucasian features. I can tell these features when I go within myself. Okay, because there are times I am seeing features. Let me just say that I don't want to leave that out. But for the most part, I'm seeing light beings. Okay, and that energy is loving. Ah, the first thing comes to me. We are a spark of source. We are light beings. We come from the all there is. I feel like we're all fractures of source having experience. So I see light beams versus I see dark beams. And these can be people, family. They have fallen from grace, people that wants no part of the light, for whatever reason. But that's what I see within myself. And a lot of times I'm able to see certain realms, it's for a reason. I feel like it's for me to speak about it because like a testimony, I'll be sharing the things that I've been able to experience. And I feel like it can help somebody because I don't want them to think, go crazy or think something is wrong with them. No, you're having this experience for a reason and you are seeing it for a reason. And like I always say, you don't have to accept it and just, you know, feel like a victim. Wow, I'm in this realm. I'm seeing all of this. Um, what's going on? Why am I seeing this? How about you just observe? Just observe because you're safe. God is with you. You're safe. Just the fact that you're able to see it, His presence is still there. His presence is still there. You're safe. But if you ever witness this family, it's something to see. It is something to see. Just observe, okay, and speak about it. Observe and speak about it so others um, will know is their choice if they choose to accept it or not. But when they have their own experience, they will know this for themselves. They can't say they didn't know. Okay? The Most High God is doing something wonderful in His children, and I'm grateful. I'm at the point now I don't even feel death. Okay, I used to when I was young, cause I was fearful. Oh, where I'm gonna go? Oh, blah 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 blah. But God has not given His spirit. He has not given His children spirit of fear. The Word tells us that. And who wants to be in that realm fearing anyway? You're gonna draw things to you. Okay, you should never be in the spirit realm being in fear. Okay, it's very low vibrational. You're going to drag yourself down big time. You need to operate in power as far as knowing whose you are. You're a child of the light. Okay, you're a child of the sun. You're the child of the Most High God. That's very empowering. So there's nothing to fear. But getting back to when I was having an experience, I got tired of being in that realm because it's very thick and dark, and I don't like the energy. Because that's not how I was vibing. I'm very high vibrational, but I had that experience for a reason. And, anytime that there's a shadow, it's always a light that's bouncing off of that which it is. Like you outside, the sun is shining, you see your shadow. Well, that shadow is there because the light is bouncing off of whatever it is that you're actually seeing, but you just pretty much only looking at that shadow. Okay? Pretty much get your eyes off the shadow. That's the point I'm trying to make. Get your eyes off the shadow. And that's what my higher self told me. Because, when my higher self is communing with me, all of a sudden I had this aha moment. And things would come to me. And I was like, oh, okay. My higher self was telling me, okay, now get your thoughts off of the shadow. Okay? Because it's very distracting. And that's what they want you to do. The more you see them moving around, you do like this. But you're not paying attention to the light that's in that space. You're not paying attention to the light at all. They are distracting. They are distracting you. Okay, that's what they want to do. They want to distract you. They don't want no positive light, so they're trying to distract you. Okay, but there are ways of coming out of that space, and I've given you some examples. All right, family. So with that being said, in the midst of your problems, in the midst of whatever that you're going through in life, see if what it is, family. Temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement, and everything we go through is pretty much, we're learning lessons. Okay, are you going to focus on your problems? Hint, just like when I was in myself, I was just, you know paying attention what the dark thing was doing instead of me focusing on the light. Or are you going to see your way out? Focus on the solution, seeing your way out. That is the question. Get your mind out of the gutter, out of your problems, and focus on solution. Focus on seeing yourself out of the situation victorious. Okay? You have the power, family. Just speak it. See yourself out of your situation. Peace.